Smith & Wesson M&P 15. The Smith & Wesson M&P 15 sport rifle is a quality firearm at a bargain price. It is not meant to be a Mall Ninja AR dripping with rails and oozing tacticool. Smith & Wesson has aimed its rifle at AR newbies looking for a quality firearm at a bargain price and has done away with the dust cover and forward assist. The target market is less likely to need an AR to fight terrorists in sandstorms and extreme weather than use that funny shell holder thingy to eat snails. The rifle will likely live out its days in a case or safe with semi-regular forays to the range or the woods. The forward assist on the M&P 15 Sport is a throwback to the rifle's original design, with a cylindrical slap assist found on most other black rifles nowhere to be seen. Newer users tend to hit the forward assist with the force of Thor's hammer rather than giving it to the gentle smack that's needed to bring a round into battery if it hasn't seated properly. If the rifle doesn't charge properly without a forward assist, the user can use the scallop section of the bolt itself and a finger on the support hand to gently nudge the action closed. The Smith & Wesson M&P 15 Sport is a full-profile rifle of American 4140 steel with a chromed bolt carrier and gas key and a melanite coating. It also incorporates 5R rifling, an innovation Smith added after they acquired Thompson Center Arms. The rifle ships with a flat-top Picatinny-style rail with an adjustable removable dual aperture rear and adjustable A2 post front sights. The lower and upper receivers are fashioned from 7075 T6 aluminum, fully forged in-house by Smith & Wesson, and include a single-piece, solid-forged, non-removable oversized trigger guard, a typical 6-position telescoping stock, sling mounts, and a bayonet lug. The gun was tested at Gunsight's Scrambler course, where maximum distance shot was 50 yards. With night vision and thermal gear, the gun was able to hit high-plate steel at 50 yards and consistently placed rounds in the T-zone within seconds of being instructed to fire. If the gun is as reliable as initial impressions indicate, it is a tremendous value for money. Smith has finally brought the same quality and functionality to the AR world that made their revolvers famous.
So you got a 16-inch barrel on this model as well, with the A2 flash hider. This is a 1.8. The Patrol specifically comes with Magpul furniture, so you can see here you got the Magpul SOE stock.
Ruger PC Carbine. Dusting off an old concept, Ruger cooked up a real one of its most popular newish firearms with this 9mm carbine. Evolving the old police carbine concept, the PC Carbine arms shooters with a familiar configuration that has some handy tricks up its sleeve. First and foremost, it's a takedown rifle. Given many like to employ pistol caliber carbines as utility or truck guns, this single feature vastly enhances the Ruger rifle. Splitting in two just before the receiver, the 34-inch long gun nearly shrinks by half, and at around 7 pounds it's absolutely portable, say in a backpack or the like. Furthermore, Ruger has shot to make the carbine as flexible as possible with Security 9 and Glock magazine compatibility. Paying attention to some finer points, Ruger has outfitted the PC Carbine with some nice extras. The barrel is fluted, the dead blow action runs like clockwork, and the muzzle is threaded, just in case you wanted to take advantage of the caliber's eminent suppressibility. The stock, fiberglass-filled nylon, is also on target, upping the gun's accuracy potential by providing a rigid platform. Kel-Tec Sub 2000. Compact as they come, Kel-Tec may have cooked up the ultimate backpack gun in the Sub 2000. It certainly created among the most unique 9mm carbines, also available in 40 S&W at the end of the market, already known for being idiosyncratic. What makes the Sub 2000 so intriguing is its unique folding design. Hinged at the fore of the receiver, the carbine folds into a neat 16-inch package, ideal to keep it handy in a rucksack, sports bag, or vehicle. Furthermore, it deploys in seconds, simply at the push of a button. Now in its second generation, the Sub 2000 is light as well, a mere 4 pounds. This is thanks to the extensive use of fiberglass-filled nylon that makes up the majority of the gun. Additionally, Kel-Tec designed flexibility into the system, given your choice of magazine compatibility: Smith & Wesson, Sig Sauer, Beretta, and Glock. Likely this has you covered, no matter what pistol you carry. Adding to its appeal are easy and intuitive controls, such as the under-the-buttstock charging handle, not to mention plenty of extras, ample rail space, fiber optic front sight, sling mounts, and a wealth of aftermarket upgrades. Chris Vector. Is the Chris on this list for nostalgia purposes or because it looks cool? Why not both? The Vector was on the cutting edge of the PCC trend, arriving before most platforms did. First announced in 2007 and commercially available a couple of years later, it didn't take long for the space-age aesthetics of the Kriss Vector to catch the eye of the general public. This was reinforced by its prominent use in films and video games shortly after the gun was released. From the 2012 remake of Total Recall to Call of Duty, the gun was still quite new by the time non-firearm enthusiasts started to recognize it for its unique look too. The gun is in its second generation now, with design improvements that make it easier to shoot. And like the other guns on this list, it's available as a stockless pistol, a braced pistol, or a full-size 16-inch carbine. However, unlike most of these guns, it's available in multiple calibers. 9mm is the most common PCC caliber, but the Kriss is also available in 40 S&W and its original chambering, 45 ACP. The heart of this is something the company refers to as the Kriss Super V system, and it was designed to drastically reduce recoil and muzzle climb. This system is also what gives the Vector its above-average price tag. Another thing worth mentioning is the Kriss Vector CRB is very enjoyable to shoot. As advertised, the muzzle barely moves when firing, and it's very easy to remain on target through a string of shots. Even while firing from standing at 30 yards, not much effort is required to quickly put an entire magazine in the A-zone, as well as the fact that the Vector CRB is apparently very ergonomic. The rifle's center of balance is so far to the rear that it makes it incredibly easy to hold it on target with one hand. For theoretical tactical applications of this gun, that's a very useful feature to have. If one of your arms is out of commission for whatever reason, the Vector can still be fired with reasonable accuracy and efficiency with a single hand. Palmetto State Armory AKV. In recent years, Palmetto State Armory has been making some seriously interesting AK pattern rifles, and now they've decided to enter the pistol market as well. The PSA AKV is effectively an AK-style pistol, complete with a brace, that gives you AK ergonomics with 9mm ballistics. This is one not to miss. We'd like to make use of this gun in a home defense kind of configuration, running it pretty light in terms of accessories to make the best possible use of the small platform, as well as the fact that it looks cool just as it comes from the PSA factory. Features-wise, it's pretty standard AK, except for the fact that it takes special AKV mags. We like the modernizations that they've made, including the M4 stock adapter and 1913 rail on top of the dust cover, which makes it more compatible with modern stocks and optics. Speaking of optics, we think this would go great with one of the new micro red dots that are meant for pistols, as well as a sling to keep it retained if you do end up using it for self-defense. If your budget allows, a suppressor would also be a great call on this seriously cool carbine. TNW Aero Survival Rifle. Prepping is one of the areas where the pistol caliber carbine concept thrives. Given its potential to eliminate ammunition concerns between a long gun and a pistol, it's a robust strategy, and TNW has contrived among the best tools for the job. Flexible beyond belief, the Aero Survival Rifle isn't bound purely as a 9mm carbine. Quick change barrels open the blowback semi-auto to a host of chamberings, including 22 LR, 45 ACP, 40 S&W, 10mm, and 357 SIG. Since its task is to tackle the unexpected, this sort of flexibility has the potential to pay dividends. Adding to the survival rifle's usefulness, it's a takedown. At 16 inches taken down, it's a perfect insurance policy in a truck, boat, or, what it was originally designed for, an airplane. This is particularly true if it's paired with a case TNW cooked up for the rifle that stows it and a couple of spare barrels, so you can match the rifle to the ammunition on hand. Furthermore, the 5.5-pound carbine is compatible with Glock magazines and has receivers constructed out of aircraft-grade aluminum, PSA Gen 4 AR-9. Swimming decidedly against the tide, Palmetto State Armory AR-9 doesn't aim to send your heart and wallet into palpitations. Crafting everything in-house, the company controls costs, at the same tick, turns out an honest-to-God value in its 9mm carbine. In fact, for its price, the 16-inch rifle is among the best deals going in a category of pistol caliber long gun that seems to get more expensive every year. Accuracy is where the blowback really earns high marks, getting everything out of the parabellum and a bit more. Adept enough to consistently drill steel at 100 yards, longer if you want to push it, it's definitely a precision shooter, an elusive trait in pistol caliber carbines. Furthermore, like a good date, it isn't picky about what it eats. As desired with an AR-style rifle, the controls are where they're supposed to be. even if PSA had to put the mag release on a lever to accommodate the modified lower. And it comes with a fairly slick handguard, rife with M-lock slots and excessively milled to make it featherweight. Best of all, the AR-9 is compatible with Glock magazines, which gives you plenty of aftermarket choices. The nits to pick, it's a bit of a thumper for 9mm and it doesn't have a last round hold open. What else is new with blowbacks? Beretta CX-4 Storm. On the surface, the Storm has the external appeal of a bad Buck Rogers remake, but if you can get past its futuristic styling and a ton of polymer, you're left with a smashing carbine. The Storm is simple and advanced at the same tick, and is more than up to the most demoing task of a 9mm carbine: home defense. Lightweight at 5.6 pounds and slight size 29.5-inch length really up its potential in CQB. It's nimble, on top of that accurate. Once the relatively heavy 7-pound trigger is mastered, the Storm can create a tempest downrange. A forward-looking gun, even though it's more than a decade old, Beretta engineered a lot of flexibility into the 9mm, as 40 S&W and 45 ACP are also available. This is especially apparent in its ambidextrous nature that extends well beyond the magazine release. Boasting a symmetrical bolt design, the Storm jumps from right to left-handed configuration simply by reversing the ejector, extractor, and operating handle. Nice touch if you are a lefty that happens not to like hot brass flying across your face. Beretta also designed the carbine for magazine flexibility. Compatible with both PX4 and 90 series mags, it has quite a bit of latitude. There's no shortage of 92 magazines available, and for the most part, they're reliable and fairly cheap. SIG MPX. The SIG MPX competition would be the frontrunner for many people's favorite PCC by a slight margin. Its narrow lead has more to do with how good the other PCCs on this list are than any failing of the MPX, though. This carbine has literally changed the tactical world when it comes to SMGs, and many agencies and organizations that use the MP5 are making the transition to the AR-style MPX. The MPX design has more than proven itself in the hands of the military and LEO shooters at this point, and has shown itself to be eminently reliable. It's also one of the more popular guns to train new shooters on, or to just let people shoot at the range. The grip and controls are all AR-15 style, so most people will be able to transition to this carbine with ease. The monolithic receiver is topped with a rail, and the skeletonized M-lock handguard has a short rail section at the end for mounting a front sight. That lightened rail helps keep the balance of the gun right near the magwell, which is just about perfect and helps the gun point transition very smoothly. The 16-inch match-grade barrel comes tipped with an aggressive comp that almost completely eliminates recoil, and the Timney single-stage trigger that comes on the competition variant is absolutely sublime. At the back, you have a 5-position stock that folds out of the way for easy storage and transport, which is great for competitors that have to travel for a match. But this option is a bit pricey at $1,700, although it's not the most expensive PCC out there, and many people do agree it is worth the price tag. All that said, it's still a great gun, and the competition version is ready to go out of the box. That's all for today, folks. See you next time.